This is stupid. We live on this dielectric plane inside a toroidal field.
Oh, now we're diving into the deep end of pseudoscientific jargon.
Let's get into it because I'll show you how impossible the globe is. It's totally impossible.
Impossible? You mean like gravity doesn't exist impossible? Or the sun is a light bulb impossible? Because frankly, Dave, I've heard a lot of impossible things from flat earthers, and most of them involve someone misunderstanding basic physics. So what kind of impossible are we talking about today?
Shut up and sit down, you big bald f***.
Please subscribe. Here's the thing. Everyone has the same story. When I was first, I was doing a conspiracy podcast and people brought up flat earth.
Are we live? Right? Are you recording?
We're recording, sure. And I'll start wherever. So welcome, Dr. Shiva, or I'm on your show. I'm not sure which one it is, but we're having two conversations, two grown men having a conversation.
Two grown men? Really, Dave? I assumed you were going to be talking about the flat earth. And check this out. This man's ego is so huge that he won't even entertain listening to the facts Dave was ready to share. Dave doesn't share anything even resembling facts. As far as I can remember, the only thing Dave Weiss shares is the personal information of the people who've signed up to his app. Now, when it comes to Dr. Shiva, he's an interesting character as well, because he claims that he invented email. Just Google his name, it's all there, including the name of the guy who actually invented email in 1979, Ray Tomlinson.
Dave, what do you put it up on what, YouTube or Facebook?
YouTube.
Okay.
All right. I normally let you, excuse me, I'm losing my voice a little bit, so I've done a lot of interviews.
You just keep waffling, Dave. I'm having my lunch.
So you're brand new to this topic. I know that people have been hounding you in your chat saying, hey, have you looked into flat earth? And you agreed to have me on. So that's awesome. Thanks for having an open mind. And
well, I think about a year ago, David, just to give you an update.
Yeah.
So there's two positions I have on this, right? Mm-hmm. One is people should just collectively agree on an experiment, a very detailed experiment.
Just for a little bit of additional context, because I'm feeling very helpful today, this interview is from February 4th, last month, as in after the final experiment has happened. So, we have. And Dave was invited to go for free, and he pussied out because he's a big coward.
For me, right, we know there are infinite number of things that the swarm lies about. Many things. Mm-hmm. So the issue is, we could talk about this, we could talk about a whole bunch of things. My question also, is what do people want to do about it? You see?
Yeah. So
and
we're going to get into that.
To me, one has to build a bottoms-up movement of working people to address this.
Sure.
There's a lot of people grift off a whole bunch of stuff, and they have no interest in building any type of movement to get to truth, freedom, health.
I wonder if Dave realizes that this Shiva guy just described Dave to a T. Because he does grift off the flat earth, and he most definitely has no interest in getting to the truth.
Well, we're trying to do that. We're trying to build that movement, and they're trying everything they can to stop us. Because this is the one that breaks us free from the matrix.
The classic they're all against us and wake up sheeple combo. A conspiracy within a conspiracy. Who are they, Dave? The Illuminati? Big Globe? The lizard people running NASA? Because if proving the Earth is flat is the key to escaping the matrix, I'm going to need a bigger roll of tin foil.
You can't, there's a lot of things going on in the world with child trafficking and homelessness and wars and everything else. And people say, Dave, why are you focusing on flat earth? And the reason is because
you're a lying piece of crap grifter who would say anything about anything that'll put a few extra dollars in your pocket.
If you don't know where you live, who you are, what this place is, if you don't know that you're at the center of creation, that you have great power, then you can't do anything. You're lost in space, spinning out of control, and you're powerless.
Yeah, you are powerless. You're a tiny speck on a tiny speck in an endless sea of specks. But with the power of flat Earth, you can be a tiny speck on a tiny flat speck. So does that mean believing in a flat earth would give me superpowers, Dave? So if I do, I would suddenly be able to fly or control the weather? Or does it just give me the power to misunderstand things?
And so, you know, people don't realize they have free will. People just think that they're, you know, are stuck in this slave system, and the globe is a prison for your mind, right? You know, and think about this. When people search flat earth, they come up with this. This is stupid.
But Dave, if an image of what you believe we live on, a flat earth, is stupid, what does that say about the theory itself? Are we just supposed to ignore your own very accurate assessment of the flat earth?
Okay, no flat earther thinks that Earth is this, but this is what they want you to think.
Hang on a second, Mr. Weiss, I'm getting very confused here. So they want us to think that the Earth is a globe while showing us photographs of what a flat Earth looks like, you know, the real one, all while trying to hide the flat Earth from us.
Like if you Google, hey, top 10 reasons the Earth could be flat, Google's going to deliver you top 10 reasons the Earth is a globe.
Well, Google is clearly part of Big Globe, aren't they? They're so powerful they can even manipulate search results to show actual evidence. How dare they? I mean, it's not like search engines are designed to prioritize information based on relevance and credibility, is it? Must be part of a global plot. Dave, if flat Earth were true, wouldn't there be 10 reasons the Earth is flat that were scientifically valid?
Because they don't want you finding the true information of this world. You asked me before when I first got into it, I went into it with a bad attitude. I went in, I'm just going to disprove flat Earth, prove the globe. And I tried for weeks to find proof of the globe, but I couldn't. And the more I looked, the worse it got.
I know, Dave, it's so frustrating. And if I were you, I would be wishing that some random guy on the internet had offered to pay the $35,000 it would cost you to go down to Antarctica to witness a phenomenon which is completely impossible on a flat Earth. What a shame, because that would have proven it to even you once and for all. You know, because you said this.
The 24-hour sun in Antarctica doesn't work on a flat Earth. And then I realized, oh my God, the Earth is not a globe. And then I was afraid to even talk about it because I'm like, oh my God, all of the other work I've done on all of the other deceptions is going to be discredited. But then I realized
that there was lots of money to be made. Because stupid people are very easily manipulated.
Special Officer Dookie reporting.
I mean, this is 127,000 feet up, right? Whenever we send a balloon up, the Earth is white, okay? It's white because of the thickness of the atmosphere, right? But NASA shows us these color graphic pictures of Earth. They're in Technicolor, right?
Are you sure it wasn't just a cloudy day, Dave? Because, you know, light does some pretty interesting things when it passes through the atmosphere. It can scatter, refract, and even create those pesky colors that NASA is so fond of.
Look at this light here. It's a local light. It's lighting up this area right here, right? It's darker over here because this is a local light. What is it? We don't know, right? But it's a local light for sure. It can be proven that.
Do any of you lot realize how big the sun is? You're claiming that something which has a diameter which is over 100 times the size of Earth is local. That's like saying an elephant is local to a mouse. Also, how does this local sun explain the other stars we see at night? Are they also local light bulbs? Is the universe just a giant warehouse filled with the bloody things?
And, you know, we live on this realm. Now, we're going to be talking about where we live in this incredibly large system. And we live on this dielectric plane inside a toroidal field.
Oh, now we're diving into the deep end of pseudoscientific jargon. And Dave, I'm sure that sounds impressive to other flat earthers, but isn't that just a fancy way of saying that you think we live on a magic carpet in a donut-shaped bubble?
The Earth is supposedly rotating at 1,000 miles an hour below this balloon, right? 1,000 miles an hour to the east. This balloon is disconnected from the Earth. It's nearly in space, if that's a real thing. And when it came down, it landed east of where it took off.
Yeah. The balloon should just stay perfectly still, and birds should just fall out of the sky, and aeroplanes should just hover in place. A miracle of flat Earth physics. Or maybe, just maybe, it's because the Earth's atmosphere is also rotating, and the balloon is carried along with it. But what do I know? I'm just a globe-believing sheeple.
Let's take time out here. Let's just take first principles, okay?
Yep.
Let's just go to very simple first principles.
Sure.
Okay, and let's go to the basic scientific method.
Oh, Dr. Shiva, you've blown it now. The second you mention the scientific method, flat earthers' brains just switch off.
So let's review what the scientific method is. What is the scientific method?
Observable, repeatable, testable, with an independent variable and a fixed variable. Something that's done in nature.
No, that's not what the scientific method. Let's just follow what is the scientific method.
Me? I know. The scientific method is a systematic process of investigation that involves making observations, asking questions, forming a hypothesis, conducting experiments to test the hypothesis, then analysing the data and drawing conclusions based on the results, allowing scientists to objectively establish facts through testing and experimentation.
Yes, science!
What's the first step in the scientific method?
You tell me where you want to go with this.
It's a simple question, Dave. And it's fine even for a flat earther to say they just don't know. But it's to ask a question, like the one he just asked you, which you clearly don't want to answer for reasons which will become clear soon.
Well, I think we need to follow the framework, what we're going to use to get to truth.
Sure.
So the scientific method, because otherwise it's just, everyone's just talking over each other.
Sure.
The scientific method says first you come up with a hypothesis, step one.
Hang on a second, what's this guy a doctor of? One is ask a question, two is do some background research to learn what's already known about the topic, and three is construct a hypothesis, with four being conduct experiments to test that hypothesis, five being analysing the data from the experiment and drawing conclusions, and six is communicating the results to others. Well, his PhD is in biological engineering, but shouldn't he still at least know what the scientific method says? Especially when he's called Dave out for getting it wrong? Not that I'm definitely not defending Flat Earth Dave. Oh, no.
Sure.
You can have a hypothesis that the Earth is round or the Earth is flat or the Earth is whatever.
Or that in December, when a group of flat earthers and globe earthers all travelled to Antarctica together, they could witness a 24-hour sun, which is impossible on a flat Earth. Isn't that right, Dave?
Flat Earth, you can't have a 24-hour sun, a midnight sun in Antarctica.
And the next thing you do, you agree that you're going to do an experiment.
Sure.
The methodology of an experiment, step two.
Mm-hmm.
Then you gather data from that experiment.
Sure.
Okay, and you agree what data you're going to gather.
Sure.
So once that's step three in the scientific method, once you gather that data, you organize that data, and then you produce a model from that data, what that data gives.
Sure.
If that data matches your hypothesis, you say, great, I believe I have something here that's true.
Something like the Earth being a globe, for example?
Do you agree this is a scientific
Yeah, 100%.
method?
Yep.
Okay. So now if someone says the Earth is round, okay,
Yep.
or someone says the Earth is flat, they have to propose an experiment.
Let's do it.
Are you taking the piss?
What do you mean, let's do it, you clown? Will Duffy proposed a perfectly good experiment, and you just say that it isn't an experiment at all, and you refuse to attend even though Will was footing the bill.
And then they go, so before we go there was a recent experiment that was done in Antarctica, right?
It was not an experiment. It was an observation of a light in the
Okay.
sky under very sketchy circumstances. Let me show you
No,
an experiment.
but that too, but Dave,
Yeah.
Dave, that is an experiment because
It's not.
It is.
Well, let's do it didn't last very long, Dave, did it? Are you just a little bit concerned that he's about to bring up you refusing to attend the final experiment?
If you go to the experiment that was done, and I believe some non-flat earther and a flat earther was involved in that, can you describe
Yeah.
what they agreed to do?
Well,
What
I'd
did they
rather
agree to do?
talk about the shape of the Earth.
Yeah, you'd rather talk about anything other than what he's talking about, wouldn't you? Because you can't explain it and maintain a belief in a flat Earth.
The 24-hour sun in Antarctica doesn't work on a flat Earth.
No, but just to educate people, some guy agreed to do this experiment with this guy, right?
No, they did not. No one agreed to do an experiment. They agreed to go make an observation of the sky and see what it told us.
Right, but that's an experiment, Dave.
Well, it's not because
he's a smelly poo-poo head? I mean, you may as well say that, Dave, because you're rapidly running out of anything else to say.
The lights in the sky do not dictate the shape of the floor.
So you're saying that observing a phenomenon that can only occur on a curved surface is irrelevant to determining the shape of that surface? That's like saying that observing a fish is irrelevant to determining if you're in an aquarium. The 24-hour Antarctic sun is a direct observational piece of evidence that fits perfectly with a globe model and is completely incompatible with a flat Earth. But if we can't convince you of that, then maybe this guy will, because you're obviously in love with him.
On a flat Earth, you can't have a 24-hour sun, a midnight sun in Antarctica. Like, look up at the lights in your ceiling and tell me if they tell you what shape your floor is.
Well, unless the lights on his ceiling are 93 million miles away, then it's not quite the same thing, Dave, is it?
Here's an experiment. Let me show you an experiment.
Let's not talk, Dave. Let's not talk analogies, because analogies in science don't work.
Now, I don't really know much about this Dr. Shiva guy, but I think I quite like him. He's got Dave firmly stuck on the end of his hook. He's wriggling like a worm that's just about to get gobbled up by a great white shark.
No, Dave, stop.
Yeah, Dave, stop before you make yourself look like a complete and utter moron. Actually, we may be too late for that already.
So first, your hypothesis is what in this?
Well, I know what Dave's hypothesis was.
The 24-hour sun in Antarctica doesn't work on a flat Earth. The hypothesis is if the Earth is a globe, at the size that they tell us, it has a curvature rate. We know what that rate is based on the Pythagorean theorem, and the best formula.
But let's just stop right there.
Yeah, Dave, what the hell are you talking about? Because according to you and every other flat earther, the shape of the ground has nothing to do with what was observed in Antarctica. So why are you bringing it up? If I didn't know better, I'd think you were trying to divert his attention away from the topic.
There's mantle and there's a solid mass, and there's an atmosphere around that, right?
Yep.
The mass that you're talking about has various elevations around it.
Sure.
As you traverse that.
Right. But if we go over water lies level.
Dave seems to think that level means perfectly flat, like a spirit level on a kitchen counter. But level in the context of a sphere means perpendicular to gravity. And gravity, last I checked, pulls everything towards the center of mass. So the level of the ocean is actually a curved surface conforming to the Earth's shape. It's like saying a curved slide isn't level because it's not a flat plane. Dave, have you ever seen a slide?
On a ball, they tell us that at the equator, it's 24,901 miles in circumference. So that would be a curvature rate of about 8 inches per mile squared.
We're not exactly equipped to detect tiny changes in curvature over short distances. That's why we've got things like telescopes and basic common sense. If you want to see the curve, look at a ship disappearing hull first over the horizon. Or better yet, go to space and stay there.
Water also has surface tension.
A small, like a drop of water, has surface tension, but a large body of water, anything over a gallon of water, will lie flat at rest.
So you think surface tension turns off when there's more water? Is there a switch somewhere that says more than a gallon, no surface tension? Surface tension is there, but it's overcome by other forces like gravity. When you've got large bodies of water, surface tension is there, but on a large body of water, it's not the dominant force. Gravity is.
Right? And that's fact.
No, I don't. No, I have to think about this.
Really? But you're a PhD. I don't have to think about it. Dave is demonstrably wrong.
Stop. Time out. I have to. You have to think about that because you have gravitational forces.
Sure.
Okay, which affect bodies of water. right?
So if the Earth is, let me help you with that. They tell us the Earth is 70% water. So that water can't be flat. It would have to curve around the Earth.
Earth's surface is 70% water, not the Earth itself, you muppet.
You sound like a damn fool when you say it wrong.
So are you saying that we live on a giant watery pancake then? No waves, no tides, just an endless, perfectly flat expanse of water. So how do the world's oceans somehow magically defy the laws of gravity and physics then, Dave?
No, but what I'm saying is the nature of that curvature, okay, or that deformation, because it is a elastic fluid, will vary. You agree?
No, I disagree. Because large bodies of water at rest lie flat.
Stop quoting Eric Dubay. It wasn't true when he said it, and it isn't true when you say it.
Right? So if we had a lake a mile long, from one, if you're standing at one end.
Okay, but you have different forces on objects, right?
Well, you're just talking about the alleged force of gravity.
Flat earthers are so scared of gravity, they have to call it alleged, like a child who's scared of the dark. So they close their eyes and pretend it's not there. Gravity is there, Dave, and it affects everything.
But when water is at rest, it lies flat.
And flat earthers wonder why people like me mock them. Come on, Dave, even you can do better than this.
In your hypothesis, it's more than just a hypothesis. You're excluding gravity. You're excluding any other forces.
I certainly am.
Am I the only one who thinks it's weird that he just said that so proudly? Gravity destroys the flat earth. The flat earth is impossible due to gravity, just that one thing. So of course flat earthers are going to say gravity is fake because there's no way to explain how it works on a flat earth. Dave, you sound ridiculous.
I certainly am. Let me ask you a question. If something is moving at a constant speed, forget whether the speed is changing or not, but it's turning, it's not going on a linear path, that curve, that turn is equal to acceleration. Do you agree with that?
What I was trying to say is that the Earth isn't rotating. But here's the thing. If it is a globe, which it is, and if it was rotating, which it also is, every point on the globe is constantly changing direction. That means everything on Earth is constantly accelerating, even if we're moving at a constant speed. It's called centripetal acceleration, and it's a direct result of a circular motion. So no, Dave, I wouldn't agree with you on that, and I would hope that Dr. Shiva says the same, and I'm sure it's all still alleged to you, Dave, anyway.
The Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, 1,040 to be exact, right? At the equator. Slower in other areas because it's making a smaller circle as you get closer to the alleged poles, right? And then it's orbiting at 66,600 miles an hour, speeding up and slowing down, average speed 66,600. All of these are curved trajectories. We're also chasing the sun at close to 500,000 miles per hour. So you got this lumpy rock surrounded by water, surrounded by high pressure air, adjacent to a void of no pressure called space, and it's making 4 different motions at once, and none of it is ever felt anywhere. No one ever can measure it. No one can ever see it or anything. But when you go out into nature, you see stuff like this, right? You see.
I don't care about all this. I'm just saying, let's just take a clean sheet of paper. None of this is. I like math,
right,
and experiments.
Well, in that case, Dr. Shiva, you and Dave have probably run out of things to talk about because Dave is a flat earther, and flat earthers do not like maths or experiments.
All I know, David, is that it is very difficult in science or engineering to make something, build something, validate something.
Sure.
And it takes great amount of effort to someone to have made this, okay? I have great value for people who make things these days, okay?
Sure.
And making a fool of yourself on YouTube doesn't count, Dave. He's not complimenting you.
So we have to honor that. So all of these statements that people just make, whether you make it or others, I do actual experiments, even go against the scientific establishment, okay?
I get it.
At the end of the day, I win because I get data. It matches the hypothesis I made, and I have data to validate it.
So nothing like flat earthers experiments then, because every time they do an experiment to prove that the Earth is flat, They just end up confirming that it's a globe. Oof.
Interesting.
Okay. So if you allow me to show you my data, that will validate my hypothesis, and you can tell me where I'm wrong.
Well, I can do that, but the last thing I would want to do is upset all the people who watch me who think I talk too much in my videos. So what they're saying is I provide too much commentary in my commentary videos on my commentary channel. So I best let Dr. Shiva take it from here.
So this is a reservoir, and it's frozen, and then we have a camera 6 inches off the ice. So it's at night, so it's hard to see. But we put these lights out here. Okay, 4 lights, right? 8 miles, 7 miles, 6 miles, and 5 miles. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but according to the globe math, what they tell us, right? This one should be more than 30 feet below the curve, behind the curve. Right, this one 22 feet.
Let's just do the math ourselves. What is the? If we just look at that, what is the curvature? I mean, I can get out the calculator.
The curvature is you can go to curvature calculator.
Let's just do the math ourselves.
Yeah. So it's 8 times 8.
Hold on. So I'm going to bring up a spreadsheet here. Okay.
Yep.
So what is the curvature from point A to point B?
The curvature that it's supposed to be is 8 inches per mile squared. So you got 8 times 8.
8 inches. 8 inches is the curvature per mile squared.
8 inches per mile squared. Because if it was 8 inches per mile, that would just be a ramp. Right? It's exponentially curving faster and faster.
With an observer height of 6 inches, a 0.8 miles away would be roughly 33.64 feet lower relative to a straight line extending from your eyes. The lower you are to the ground, the more the Earth's curvature obscures distant objects. So that's about right. I don't get your point.
Right? This formula is a parabola after like 2,000 miles. Nobody can see 2,000 miles. So we're just doing this. It works. It actually gives the
you're saying if this point is 0, the parabola is going like this.
Correct. And after about 2,000 miles, it's not valid anymore. But
so
up to 2,000 miles, it's within a couple of feet.
Right. But if you just take a simple parabola, okay, just basic like algebra, let's say here's flat and here's the y-axis down this way. So if this is 0, 0, you're saying it's going to go like this, right?
Yep.
Okay. So what is the equation of that curve? Y equals what minus what x squared?
It's the Pythagorean theorem, right? It's 8 inches.
Well, it's not Pythagorean. It has to be. It has
well, you
to
can
be...
measure the radius, right?
Yeah, I can see now why people wanted me to carry on reacting to this video, because Dave is starting to appear to be very, very uncomfortable. And it's absolutely brilliant, but at this rate, there's probably going to be a part 3 as well. So let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see that.
Yeah, but what is the equation? Y equals minus what is k x squared? That's what I'm asking.
You know what? The way I look at it is that we just use the Pythagorean theorem, and it works out.
It's not the Pythagorean theorem. It's a parabola. If you're saying it's a curvature, right?
Yeah.
If this is 0, right, it's going to curve like this. So what is the equation? Y? I'm just asking what's the equation? Y equals minus something x squared. What is that?
Let me show you the easy way to do it.
Dave, for once in your life, just be honest and say you don't know, because it's obvious that that's the case.
So,
well, that's one of the easiest ways. It's just y equals just simple algebra.
So we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. It's a Pythagorean theorem. So if we put that on a globe, they tell us the radius of the Earth is this is the radius, and we went out x distance. This would be the drop right here. So they tell us the radius is 3963, another made up number, right? But that's the official story. So this is not the scale, of course. So we got our radius. If we went 100 miles out, we can square the numbers and figure out what the drop would be, right? So the hypotenuse would be.
No, I got to understand it simply. You just said it's something x squared, and you said it's a parabola.
3963.
The Pythagorean theorem in its most basic form, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, applies only to right-angled triangles. A parabola is not a right-angled triangle. You can use the Pythagorean theorem in calculations related to parabolas, but not the parabola itself. I'm getting so confused.
Squared.
Times squared times 100 squared.
Right.
Equals the hypotenuse of 15,715,000 feet.
But then you have to take the square root of that.
Correct.
To come to which point you're out in outer space then.
So we're up in the air, right? But if you subtract the radius from that, it comes out to 1.2615 miles, which is the drop. 1.2, which is 6,660 feet. At 100 miles, there would be over a mile of drop if the Earth was curved, right?
Let me look. So you have, go back. Just go back. Okay, so hold on. You're saying the radius is 3,963 miles. You go 100 miles. And at that point, if the Earth was flat, right?
If the Earth was curved, we'd have the difference of the radius.
Yeah, but
from
before you go,
no,
but that's a flat Earth model.
Well, at least I know why I was finding it all so bloody confusing now.
No, that's the globe model. I'm calculating the drop on a globe.
No. If you were at that point and you were flat and you came out, you want to try to find out if you were going from the... I'm saying that is if the Earth is flat, right?
No, this is if the Earth was a globe. If I went out straight and on a straight line from the tangent of my feet and I didn't follow the curve, after 100 miles, I would be 1.2615 miles high, which is 6,600 feet.
Right. So if let's say you want to use a lake or flat plain somewhere, okay? So if I start a plane straight and I just go straight, okay? And I just fly that plane straight, right? I don't even take off. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, the Earth should drop out from underneath you if it's curved.
Right. So if I just go straight, okay, and taking into account, if I just go straight, meaning straight into that 100 mile on a flat surface, and I go 100 miles straight, I should be, if the Earth is round, according to that, after 100 miles going straight, I should be 1.265 miles from the surface. That's what we're saying here.
That's what we're saying, yes. Now, do you know how planes stay level? They have a gyroscope on a 3-axis gimbal.
Dave, concentrate. We're not talking about aeroplanes. We were talking about the math that makes you a model of the Earth more plausible than actual reality.
That spins up and holds rigidity in space. So as the plane turns, goes up and down, the gyroscope always stays level. It always stays level. It holds rigidity in space based on their initial airport. If you flew halfway over the globe, the gyroscope would be vertical. It's not going to curve with you.
No, forget all of them. Let's just keep it simple, stupid principle, okay? You get a flat surface of 100 miles, according to this hypothesis you're proposing. And if I were to just fly something straight, if the Earth is round,
you'd end up in space. You'd be 80,000 feet in the air in 1 hour.
Well, I should be 1.2615, which is 5,280.
Oh, for just 100 miles, sure. Sorry.
So let's just get that number right, which is 1.2615, 1.2615 times 5280, which is the number of feet in a mile. So you should be that's interesting, 666.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Well, it's not anything really, is it? And I knew one of you was going to bring it up, but it's just a number, 666. It's one less than 667 and one more than 665.
Dude.
Okay, anyway, in this model, you should be at 6,660 feet above the ground, okay? That's what we're saying.
Can I just show you a little side note?
I don't care about all that.
Go ahead.
I care about actually doing an independent experiment. Okay, so let's just stop right there. Okay? Where is a place We don't even need to go 6,660 feet. You can go much shorter than that, you know? Where is a place that you propose that this experiment should be done?
What, flying an airplane straight and level? They do it every day. Every single flight flies straight and level. You look at all the flight data.
No, not they. I'm saying you and I, and we get...
So we get a private jet.
people.
Every single flight flies straight and level.
Dave, when a pilot says level flight, it means level to the horizon. The horizon is curved, so the flight path is curved. All flights, well, most flights, follow great circle routes, not stupid flat routes.
Airplanes fly over the Earth plane.
As in the planet Earth, which is a planet. A globe, a sphere, not a flat plane. It's like saying a car drives on the road's plane. Yeah, it does, the road's surface, which curves with the earth. Dave is confusing plane meaning surface with plane meaning flat, so he doesn't even have a proper understanding of the English language.
They do not nose, their nose up 2-3 degrees the whole time. So as you're flying over this ball, how are you going around the ball with the nose always up?
Planes fly nose up because of something called angle of attack. It's the angle between the wing and the oncoming airflow, and it's what creates lift. It's got nothing to do with flying over a flat surface or a curved surface. It's about aerodynamics, not geometry.
Right, but David, I don't care about all that. I'm just talking about an experiment that can be reproducible,
right,
that any idiot can do.
Right, I got it. This is one that any idiot can do.
And is that assessment based off the fact that you've already done it, Dave?
Let me just finish this, okay?
Yep.
So I rounded down because they always, refraction, things refract up.
Yeah, but where are you choosing the location? I want to write down this research.
This is just a frozen lake. We've done it over Lake Balaton.
Where?
This one, I don't know exactly where this one is. I forget.
Well, isn't that handy, Dave? I mean, the fact that you forget which lake this was done at. So now he has no way of verifying anything you're about to say.
But we have a whole bunch of ones we did. We did a 26-mile laser test over Lake Balaton. And it showed no curvature.
Now, even though I feel like Shiva is about to tell Dave he doesn't care, I do. So the Lake Balaton test is where they pointed a laser from near the surface towards a distant observer. And they thought that if the observer saw the beam, they proved the Earth is flat. But all it was a misunderstanding about how lasers and the atmosphere interact and how refraction affects it.
And the curvature of 26 miles is far more than this, right? But these are rounded down, giving the globe every benefit of the doubt. So what does this mean?
Just out of interest, Dave, and because somebody asked it in the comments under the last video, so you know those lights that you've got labeled 5, 6, 7, and 8 miles away? How high are they? Because that would have a huge impact on what you're trying to show.
So if we look, if the Earth is flat, it means the camera's here and it could see all of these lights and they all line up. If the Earth is a globe, at 6 inches, the horizon should be about a mile away. So then you have the tangent of the Earth. And all of these are refracting up the perfect amount to appear to be at this tangent. That's what you have to believe if you believe the Earth is curved. That they're refracting up and they're tricking you. They don't refract higher. They refract up to the exact level of the tangent of this viewer. That's what you have to believe. That's crazy. The reason you can't figure it out is not because you're stupid. It's because it's stupid, right? The globe is the dumbest thing ever. Once you understand what you've been believing your whole life and have never questioned.
That was a lot, wasn't it? Ask yourself this. Which is more likely, that the atmosphere is tricking us all, or that the Earth is actually just a globe? I know which one I think is more likely. Dave, the tangent line is a line that touches a curve at one point. Refraction is the bending of light. These are not the same things. WTF are you waffling on about now? Yeah, you know, waffling, the kind of waffling we all do when we're backed into a corner.
Yeah, what I'm saying, Dave, is there needs to be an actual specific location, an actual set of steps that everyone agrees to.
I will say one thing for this Dr. Shiva guy. He's definitely not letting Dave off the hook, is he? He still wants to know the exact location, Dave. You're gonna have to tell him. And don't think we didn't notice you changing the slide over your shoulder, preparing to try and frantically change the topic again.
In a scientific methodology, you're saying, if you go back, you say, we are going to move an object 100 miles in this direction, and after it moves the object 100 miles in this direction, we're saying that its distance from the surface of the Earth needs to be 6,660 feet.
Which it won't be. But they never. No, but here's the problem. They won't be, and they claim that gravity is pulling you around the curved air of the Earth. Okay, that's not the case at all. An example would be this, right? The faster you go, the faster things curve.
That sounds like a line from a bad sci-fi movie, but what you're probably trying to get at is that the relative curvature of your path becomes more apparent at higher speeds. It's not that the Earth is curving faster, it's that your change in direction is more noticeable.
So here's the new SR-72 Blackbird, right? This thing goes 4,000 miles per hour, 4,000 miles per hour, right? So if it flies out and it's 6,000 miles out to here, right? 4,000 miles per hour, the drop would be 4,000 miles, right? So that means it's dropping at 1 mile per second. The SR, at the speed that it flies over the course of an hour, it has to drop at 1 mile per second, which is faster than free fall. What would happen to anyone on this plane if it's curving faster than free fall?
You f***ing prats.
That's not true. You have to do the inertial, you have to calculate the inertial system on that plane. That's not true, because that's
1 hour, it drops 4,000 miles.
That's in its own relative. No, that's in its own relativistic frame.
You're confusing drop with following the Earth's curvature. The SR-72 isn't dropping at 1 mile per second, it's maintaining an altitude relative to the Earth's surface, which is curved.
Sure.
So you can't go there because you're gonna screw yourself.
Now, I think what Dr. Shiva was trying to say there is, Dave, you're out of your depth, pal.
I'm just saying you need to make this experiment, if you want to do this, so simple that anyone can do it.
Even a flat earther.
Any school kid can do it, and they all should get the same data.
Yes, Dr. Shiva, but what you are failing to remember is that the likes of you and I rely on reality, whereas flat earthers, not so much.
There's so much evidence that the Earth is not curved. There's so much evidence that you can't have high pressure next to no pressure without a container, right? When pilots are coming into an airport, they say, okay, we're about 125 miles out. They figure out how much they have to drop per minute to get to the airport, right?
Yeah, Dave, I've heard all this. What I'm saying is,
you've heard this.
Yeah, Dave, people hear stuff. And saying there's no evidence to support a globe Earth is like saying that there's so much evidence that unicorns exist, I'm amazed nobody believes it. Vague claims without actual proof are about as useful as a screen door on a submarine. The atmosphere is held in place by gravity. It's not a balloon, it's a gradient. The pressure decreases as you get higher, but it's a smooth transition, not a hard boundary. What you're saying is like saying mountains can't exist because it's high ground next to low ground.
No, what I'm saying is I've heard all of this stuff. My point is that still missing among this community is a proposed experiment that everyone agrees to.
I have one.
Write it up like a scientific paper. No, go back to the one you just said.
Okay, we'll give Dr. Shiva the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he has no idea that the final experiment ever happened. But we've already done this, Dr. Shiva. Dave was invited to go completely free of charge, and he refused because he's a coward and a grifter.
Which one?
The one you just said. You fly for 100 miles. And then after that, you check the distance. It should be 6,660 feet.
But what happens when it's not?
Well, if the experiment works, that means you're wrong.
Yeah, Dave, you hadn't thought of that, had you? Still want to do it?
No. if you fly 100 miles and you're not 6,600 feet, does that mean the Earth is flat? Can I run it by you? Can I run by your methodology here? Here's my hypothesis. We start a plane out here, and we're on the salt flats or wherever. You know, we have 100 miles of.
No, but what I'm saying, Dave, is
my hypothesis is
fly 100 miles from wherever. Doesn't really matter.
That I fly 100 miles, and if the Earth is a globe, I should be 6,600 feet in the air. If I fly straight and level. Okay.
Yeah.
But when I'm not, that matches the flat Earth model. So now what do we do?
Well, in the context of this conversation, or rather the conversation you were having with Dr. Shiva, I would say that the thing you need to do next is the experiment, exactly as you've proposed it. So who's going to be paying for this one then, Dave?
Well, now you have an experimental piece supporting your hypothesis.
Sure.
Now
every single flight every day does that.
I don't want to hear that. I want what I'm saying is, if you want me to help facilitate this, I will.
That'd be awesome.
I'm saying that why don't we get, and I'll sponsor it right here in Cambridge. I have a big office here.
Okay.
Big room. We can hold a conference. Okay. Let's bring 20 people physicists from MIT, Harvard, right here. I'll call a bunch of people up. You bring 20 people.
Okay.
I'll help chair this meeting, and we'll use all the whiteboards I have right here in our big room.
Awesome.
Here.
Let's do it. Let's do it. That'd be awesome.
Now, Dave, don't make promises you can't keep, because I know I can only speak for myself, but I would pay money to see you go head to head with an MIT professor in physics.
And we will propose this experiment, and everyone go around the room and agree to the exact experimental dynamics, exact equipment, everything, how we'll measure everything. Okay? So we have to agree to that experiment. All right?
That's one experiment.
Let's just start there.
Okay.
Let's just start there. Let's just do one fucking experiment right, okay? That everyone agrees to. And then we go do that experiment, and you'll have, I'm proposing you do 20 iterations of that experiment. On each team, you have a flat earther and an MIT physicist, okay?
Okay.
Or a non-flat earther. And so therefore everyone's checking each other, and everyone's supposed to follow that protocol that we all agreed to in my room here.
Doesn't it sound almost as if Dr. Shiva is explaining the setup to the final experiment?
In Cambridge, to the letter. And if someone doesn't, that data gets thrown out, because that means someone's trying to violate the agreed upon manifesto of how to do this research.
Here's the problem.
We all know what the problem is, Dave. You're starting to panic, because based on everything I'm hearing, it sounds very much like Dr. Shiva actually wants to do this experiment, and you know what it'll prove.
Wait, there's no problem.
Okay.
So then what experiment would you propose, or how would you advance this experiment to measure the anomaly you're saying? Great. Go out again. Do it again. Guess what? It still comes out to the same answers. Now you do that over and over and over again with this experiment, with one singular experiment.
Bit rude, Dave, isn't it? Googling how to get out of an awkward conversation while the guy is still speaking to you.
The government has a backdoor portal into Twitter.
Oh, well, that was unexpected.
So whenever the truth comes out, you have these people willing to conceal it. But I'm saying up front, let's get everyone here. I mean, I'm in the heart of science and technology. Right down there's Harvard, over there's MIT.
Let's do it.
So I'm saying and then if the experiment is right, then you can do another experiment and another one, and you build a body of work. Eventually, that's how you win this game.
Get it now, Dave? You would need to repeatedly prove that the Earth is not a sphere. Flat Earthers have been failing to do that for years.
Interesting.
Dr. Zero, I think that there's better, there's other experiments that are better out there.
Well, better than your own experiment, which you've been proposing almost all the way through this video. Have you suddenly realized what it would do?
When you want to do a conference here, a scientific
My suggestion is, you're brand new to this topic. I think you need to look at a little more of the evidence before we decide what experiment would be best.
Brilliant. So you're saying, Dave, he doesn't know enough about flat Earth to be able to... What do you...
My suggestion to you is, on my website, flatearthdave.com, there's a picture of me and it says crash course. There's a bunch of videos there that you'll never find on your own because
but I don't care about that.
But
no, but I don't want to
teach you a little more.
No, but I don't need that. I go to first principles.
Oh, at least give him a chance, Dr. Shiva, because I think what Dave is trying to say is you're just not stupid enough.
Special Officer Dookie reporting.
Let's just go to first principles. You brought up the Pythagorean triangle. That is first principles. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay? The circumference of an earth of a circle is 2 pi r. Pi r squared. This I can take my pen and paper and I can derive. I don't give a fuck what I don't give a fuck what you wrote. I don't give a fuck what they wrote. I like to derive stuff from first principles. Okay?
Sure.
So I can derive, you tell me to derive something, I'll derive it from first principles, and then I can go do an experiment. I can do it. That's real science. Okay?
Well,
anything short of that is we live in a world of influencers and bullshit. And
I agree.
Nonsense.
Dave, he's talking about people like you. People who make content which is nothing more than a lie.
Is a first principle that a 3-axis gimbal holds rigidity in space? Is that a first principle?
Maintaining orientation is indeed a fundamental requirement in space, but a 3-axis gimbal is a tool to achieve that, not a first principle itself. So no, Dave. Those would be Newton's laws of motion, which govern how objects move and rotate in response to forces and torques, and the conservation of angular momentum, which dictates that a rotating object will maintain its rotation unless acted upon by an external torque.
What I'm saying to you is this, Dave. Let us call both set of people together and let's make a hypothesis. You're saying the earth is flat, and if you fly this much, it's going to do this. And then have that discourse and design the experiment. Period. And then get everyone to write their names on it. Write their names. I pledge I will execute this experiment. Their, scientific ethics.
Sure.
To the letter. And I can facilitate that, okay? And then you create teams. People have to do it. They'll be filmed doing the experiments. And all that data we publish. You have independent process, independent things. Everyone looks, and then we publish the results. Then you tell people, you just sit back and watch the fun. If you're right, you say, look, there's a result. This guy did it. This guy did it. You explain this. Okay? But I'm saying the experiment you're proposing, you're already saying, well, they're going to say this and this. Great. So then in that meeting here, let's say we do it on August 1st, 2025. You say, I know if I do this, and you're going to say this. And they're going to say, oh, yeah, we're going to say, okay, so what is the experiment methodology we design now that eliminates that argument in the future? You say? So you have to design that experiment up front.
I have it designed. We can discuss it when we have more time.
Nobody's that much of an idiot. Please say it ain't so. Haven't you been listening to him? He just said he doesn't want to use any pre-existing experiments or any experiment that you've devised. He wants you all to get together and come up with an experiment that works for both sides.
Right. I'm saying, the call to action here, let us put forward, if you want, we can use this as a video as a basis. Let's choose a date. When do you think you can get your people?
August 1st.
Is that too early or too late? We're in January, February, March, April, May, June. Could be June, summertime.
It could be June, beginning of June.
Yeah, and you could have gone to Antarctica to witness the 24-hour sun, which you yourself said is impossible on a flat Earth.
The 24-hour sun in Antarctica doesn't work on a flat Earth.
But you didn't do that. So what possible reason is there to believe that you're going to do this? You're a spineless coward, Dave. You'll never do anything like this. All you want to do is appear on other people's podcasts so you can promote your pathetic app, which relies on a globe model to even function. So, yeah.
Do you understand gyros? Do you understand gyros? How gyros work, right? So,
yeah.
So gyros for an airplane fly like this. How about this? You put a gyro upright, and you spin it up so it's holding that axis, and you point the plane east or west. Okay, and now the plane goes, and the magnetic compasses are going east. Okay. And The pilot just keeps that gyro straight because you got a gyro compass and a magnetic compass, right? And so he's just going to look at the gyro and keep that in that alignment. So the plane's going to go, and east is going to peel off to the left, magnetic east, because it goes around the North Pole. So that's going to prove that the gyro holds rigidity in space, right? Doesn't prove the Earth is flat or a globe, because in the northern hemisphere, when you dead reckon east or west with a compass, with a gyro, west will curve off to the right and east will curve off to the left on both models. When you cross the equator, when you're south of the equator and you're going west, dead reckoning, magnetic west is going to curve off to the left instead of to the right.
Dead reckoning is a method of navigation that relies on calculating positions based on known speeds and directions. Gyros are used in dead reckoning, but dead reckoning is also affected, guess what, by the Earth's rotation.
Unless people concur on one experiment, we're not going to make any headway.
I got it. I think the gyro experiment is undeniable.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, Dave.
All right, thanks.
Great. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for the time. Sorry I was a little bit late. Apologize.
It's okay, man.
Yeah.
Have a great day. See ya.
Thanks.
Hey, everyone. If you enjoyed this interview...
Well, I enjoyed it, but I won't speak for my viewers, but I get the feeling they might have as well. But like me, not for the reasons you would have hoped, Dave. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you again next week. Love you. Bye. Oh yeah, and don't forget that the 3 Dave Weiss videos from this week are getting edited together, and it'll be uploaded to Creaky Extra so you can watch it all as one video. Anyway, that's it. Love you. Bye.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
First of all, allow me to apologise for the lack of dad joke at the end of the last episode, but it was for a very good reason. I was very distracted that day because the night before, somebody only went and broke into my house, didn't they? And they stole all our eggs and left a pot of warm water on the stove. The police think it might be poachers.